This video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN is a simple tool that provides you a safe and enjoyable online experience. It can unlock your favorite apps and websites no matter where you are, like in an office or school setting, or even visiting areas where certain services are blocked. That's because ExpressVPN has over 3,000 servers in 160 locations spanning across 94 countries. Accessing region-locked content from services like Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, and HBO Max, amongst many others, is simple and fast. ExpressVPN also shields all your internet traffic with strong encryption and has a strict no activity or connection logs policy. You're protected on any network, including public Wi-Fis in cafes, airports, and hotels. ExpressVPN is available on Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, Linux, and even routers, so your gaming consoles or smart TVs can also benefit from it. Use the link expressvpn.com/JaganX to find out more, and to receive a limited time offer of receiving an extra 3 months when you sign up for the 12-month plan. Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. This is my Jacko hero review, build, and Guild War Arena showcase video. I'm on this splash screen because, when the event is over, the image will be gone, and it's a nice image to capture. It's got really good illustration from the past Guilty Gear, the heroes, and then we got Jacko right in the center there. Very, very nice. And then the music is really good as well. So anyways, like I said, this is going to be an Arena and Guild War showcase video, and in those fights, I will be able to talk about what I originally was worried about in terms of her flaws, and of course, we'll also showcase, what she's good at. And at the end, we'll see the builds. Hopefully you guys enjoy the fights. We'll watch that first, and I'll talk about the build. Alright, so this is the first Guild War fight with Jacko on the team 2. First one, we're just gonna, get it out of the way very quick.
Please, I will lend you the power to take another's life.
I do like her a lot for these kind of burst fights on kind of slowish bruiser defenses. Or sustained defense. And Zahawk, as I'm putting out this video, I already have my full account showcase, so if there's any curiosity on the builds, on the stats, it's all there. I think it's under the conviction season. Alright, so Jacko, these fights will definitely help explain why I think what I think about her. So Pyrrha, 0 stun from the Jacko passive, Chain of Chiron. I did hit the Landy, which is good. And also this is one thing that immunity really clutched here. So it went for Jacko, so Jacko would have lost that turn. I guess it wouldn't really have mattered, I might have lost Jacko. This was my first fight with Jacko, so, she potentially could have died if Landy had gotten a turn, or if Archdemon had gotten a turn. And here, we're basically trying not to hit the Archdemon Shadow, not to proc her counter. Hua Yang's very good here, because you got the defense pen, and you just ignore the crit rate reduction that ADS has. But unfortunately, this fight is not it doesn't make Jacko seem really cool in my opinion, but I mean it works.
Are you my next target?
Anyways, I'll show the stats at the end of the fights.
If you can't accept it.
So the immunity on the Hua Yang and the Jacko there was pretty clutch in this instance, but you get that 15% if you want to risk that. This one as well, I'm pretty confident that my Pyrrha is decently quick, so I just went without a speed imprint. And I believe I don't get a stun on this one either, so it really just goes to show how RNG she is. But good thing I did have Ciceria. My Ciceria is 265 speed at the moment. I did upgrade her, 200 effectiveness. So realistically, if we got the Chain of Chiron proc, we would have pushed and everybody would have had a turn, even before that Pyrrha went. But good thing that I did get a bomb on her. So we just stun her out right here. And kill, actually. This one I was thinking about just going with the defense pen but I wanted the S1 just in case I couldn't kill her and the S3 and I can stun her, but she died anyway. So the S1 was mainly for the 40% stun. This one we're just gonna finish quick as well. When I see an opportunity to outspeed a Sea Lilius, which not a lot of players have, like, you know, 305 speed Sea Lilius. Because like either all their best speed use on Pierre or something like that. But generally I would just like say that they're about 300. And then my Luna build is that like if I don't have attack buff as Soul Burn, I could still kill something like a Rem, as you saw there, so that's good. And then that was quick. Alright, so Jacko Showcase number 2 kind of failed again. In my opinion, in the 2 fights that you've seen so far, it's like it's not because of Jacko that we won. It could have been any DPS. But regardless, this is still a good showcase because it shows her vulnerabilities or her flaws. This one I did swap to a Proof of Valor Piera just in case the Violet could one-shot me. With the Proof of Valor, there's no way a Violet can one-shot. It's just extra security for this fight. We do have free equip event at the moment, as I did these Guild War fights. So it was also a better way just to ensure that, you know, don't lose Piera. Getting the attack buff up is good. And the damage mitigation here.
May I help you? I'd like to return now. I'm putting an end to this.
So something like Cecilia's way of CR boosting is a bit more consistent because all you need to do is AoE. But Jacko's Chain of Chiron's CR boost is requiring a stun, which is very RNG. So ideally, if you're gonna pair Jacko with like a Piera type of opener, you still have a Cecilia with you. So you either get the benefit of a double push, or you at least have Cecilia's push. This one I was pretty surprised my Cecilia still tanked it, but I guess the attack down helped a lot. Now this one I wanted to try out with Op Sig in the back line. I did this in Arena, it did work before. Unfortunately, you can guess what happens.
Blocking the enemy's retreat. Prepare yourself. I can allow no disruptions.
And Landy didn't have an immunity, but it doesn't matter there. This would have been resist. So Chain of Chiron's stack is that the debuff from Chain of Chiron would happen after any strip from any even artifacts. So if I got in the stun there, it would have happened right there, but it didn't. Feels bad, man. That Landy was pretty squishy, but the Soul Burn showcase for the stun is very nice. I do like her comboing animation. It is very satisfying for me. They captured that very well. It really just feels like it comes out of a fighter. It reminds me of the old Marvel vs. Capcom days. Not the 3D ones, the 2D ones. Sprite-based ones. Those aerial combos were very satisfying. Hey, only for those who played those games would know what I'm talking about. But it's very nice. So that's it for the Guild War, and I got a couple arena fights just to showcase some variation. Not a lot of them are meta defenses, I would say, but meta defenses at the moment are kind of... It's very, like, you know, Sea Lilius, Piera, Hua Yang, and you got your Rimrus there, you got your Rem, so it's very, very varied. But I think this is a pretty good showcase for everything. So again, 0 stun. Oh wait, I did get a stun, never mind. I got a stun. I got a stun on the Sea Lilius. So Piera is the better one to bring into Hippolytus, generally, just because you have Restrict. I like Emo Kawazu with my comps. Actually, because the Vigor buff generally guaranteed from a Rem counter. In this case, we didn't get it. And then or from Hippolytus. But with Piera's attack buff and Vigor buff, generally any Rems will die in one shot. Generally. If my Hua Yang artifact on my Emo Kawazu was maxed, then it would have possibly gotten more burns and like even higher HP Rems would have died. So this one I was just debating because the Politist was relatively squishy, so I was just thinking like, do I go for S1 or do I go for S3? But I didn't know, right? I didn't know if it was like a bulkier Politist or was it a DPS one. So this one I had to sacrifice. That Huayang actually is very, very, very low HP. But I get the concept, maybe didn't have the gear for it. But 9,900 HP on Huayang is very low. Generally speaking, it's pretty easy to get Huayang's HP above 10k. So I was pretty surprised to see a 9.9. 9.9k will actually help this fight because you guys will see what happens. Because I basically lose my damage. So no use soul burning there. She has immunity. So Jacko cannot... that dual attack was lucky. So this one's a bit scuffed. Not a very clean fight, but... so the Emma Kawazu tanked that pretty well. So here's the thing. So that 2 burn right there, without an attack buff, is what saves this fight. Because it's low HP Huayang. If it was a higher HP Huayang, I don't think I would have survived that one. But either way, next one. So this one's pretty fun as well. Most people still don't run Celine on a stealth EE. They still run on the highest attack EE. I realized that in like World Arena and stuff like that as well. I myself still use the highest attack EE. But you know what happens there, because if you have Huayang, like where I have now, then Celine will aim for Huayang. And Huayang with 30% damage mitigation in terms of the crit, and then mine has 1600 defense. It was easier for her to survive that one. Otherwise, it would have been one shot, as you saw there. So this one's a bit scary. So I had to plan this one. I had to hit the Rem. If it countered, then I'd survive, but I couldn't hit anyone else. I had to hit Rem. So the kill condition here is like Rem has to die. So Huayang to Rem is okay here. Although this wouldn't really work in World Arena anymore, I think, because of how the frenzy works now. So Huayang is the next one. You have to stun her, otherwise she cleanses anyway. But I saw this, I was like, okay. After the Rem was dead, it's pretty easy since my my Jacko did get a turn. So in this case, Jacko Showcase actually succeeded since I did get another stun on the Sea Lilius to get a push. Yeah, damage is pretty good. You guys will see at the end, my Jacko is at the moment not Max Mola. I'm hesitant to max her at the moment. It's just because, like, I theorycrafted this a long time ago, but I didn't think that she was that good. So, but I just still wanted to do these showcases. Fun hero to use. Overall, fun hero. We got lucky again. We got 1 stun. Out of the 4 possible, we got 1. Which, based on the percentage proc rate, it does make sense. So that's kind of why the Guild War ones, I didn't get any stun. It would have been cool to see it, but unfortunately it didn't.
I didn't think they'd follow us all the way here.
Although I don't showcase it here, it's just important to keep in mind that you could have someone like Piera in the back with the Chain of Chiron, and if your Politist or anyone else has a stun, it can still trigger the CR boost. It doesn't have to come from the Chain of Chiron caster, so that's just important to know. So it's anyone who stuns, but the CR boost only happens every 3 turns. So most likely in any fight situation, you won't see it happen a lot. Especially Chain of Chiron is only a 2-turn. Chain of Chiron for the backliner is 2 turns. So once the debuff is gone, you won't be able to get a stun from the backliner. But the CR boost from the stun is every 3 turns. So assuming that your team somehow survives that long, you will get multiple CR boosts, but it's every 3 turns, just to keep that in mind. I've been loving Watcher Shuri after EE. I use the for AI, especially AI like Guild War versus Arena, because like if you don't hit a Robbie with Watcher and no one else has like AoE or something to break the skill null, you can waste a Robbie's S3 onto Watcher. And Watcher is very strong, right? Because like you don't have to have a DPS artifact. You can have him on Sasha, and he can still kill. So I've been loving him a lot. Like I've been using him everywhere. This one was just a debate on who I want to kill. But basically I wanted to keep the Sea Lilies pinned down. This one I took a risk for the counter. It did have Crimson Seed. But the good thing about Wachashiri is that the S2 is also AoE, so it can help with the Syria and it can also strip. So
How incompetent.
I swear.
this fight was really fun just because I'm keeping them all stunned, and it's not like I'm using a bruiser team. I am using a squishy DPS team, but I have had them like fully controlled pretty much for the entire fight. Again, looking at the combos are very satisfying to me.
If you wish to die, the fun ends here. You dare stop me? Goblet of Oak. Heed my call.
I didn't think they'd follow us all the way here.
Yeah, just to keep them stunned the entire time. So here again with Jacko.
I'm ready.
You're trembling.
May I help you? I'll leave it to you.
And learn. If you wish to die, how incompetent.
RNL.
I pulled my weight.
Okay, we got a couple more here. I forgot to record the beginning of this one, but it doesn't matter. Again, I did go with the Watcher Shuri here for the speed imprint just to make sure I beat the Piera. We did get a stun, and then we got CR boost from Caesarea. So you can see, like, it can be pretty cool, right? It can be pretty cool, but I predicted that if you're gonna try it in World Arena, it's gonna be very tough because, like, at any point she becomes more of a liability, unless she's a Chain of Chiron buffer. So anyway, I'll talk about more about this as I'm showcasing the build, reviewing the hero, and giving you guys my final thoughts. So everyone's stunned. Very satisfying to watch again. The good thing about her is, again, that she is like self-attack buffing. So like I didn't need the Piera buff here. So I can guarantee kills easier. I do like how the extra attack, you know, just like Charles, just like Alencia, does go on to another hero. If you kill the target with the regular S1, the extra attack does move on to another one.
May I help you? Do you hear me?
You're trembling.
Okay, and I think this is the last fight after this one, and it's gonna be a quicker fight. It's versus a cleave comp, so this one I double speed imprinted. I will tell you this, that a lot of the recordings here are not really blind. Like, I would fight it with one team and then lose, and then have to do it again. One reason is that, one, I either get outsped, like in this one, I did get outsped, so this is like a second time I'm fighting it, or the Chain of Chiron didn't proc in terms of the no stun, so I don't get a boost. So that Rylot was actually sneaky. It was on the Sword Storm one, Celine's artifact, so we got a CR boost. So I went for Vildred first, because, I mean, easy peasy, that must be the best kill. Elemental advantage, more damage, and then you get the extra turn. And then the next one would be Rylot if he didn't dodge, and of course he wasn't on a dodge artifact, so we get that kill easy.
I'll do everything I can.
And then again, Watcher with Sasha. Sid, my Sid is actually Ice Expo Sid, so it's like 180 something speed, built with like damage. So it's not PvP ready, but using him for speed imprint in this meta is very strong, just purely for speed imprint. Alright, so hopefully you guys did enjoy those fights, and we're going to be talking about the build. But before I do that, I want to give a big shout out to my Patreon supporters. supporting me monthly. A lot of them are taking breaks from Epic 7. Some are still passionate about it, but regardless, I thank them a lot for constantly supporting me here. Azure, Deek Boy, Kariha, RG Fua, Stone Thunder, Torin B, Potatoes, and Silly. Thank you guys very much. If you guys are watching this, you want to support me through that avenue, you've been watching my YouTubes, and you know, you're just like, hey, I want to support Jagan, check it out in the link below, for the Patreon link that is. Other than that, let's get into the build. Let's go. So if you guys are watching me on YouTube in chronology, I pulled her a couple days ago, and I think actually only 2 days ago now. And I built her on stream. So if you watched that video, you would have seen the build. Honestly, I didn't change anything from that video. I've +9 her, as you can see here. I'm waiting for the +10 friendship. Ideally, you know, getting the CR boost is really good here, but the way I'm using her right now, I'm not missing the extra 3%. And the fact that sometimes I don't get the stun, so I don't get it. So this portion will just showcase the build, the stats, and then also just what I think about her overall. If you guys do follow me in general, like, you know, video onto video, then I made an initial thoughts video on her, and my concluding thoughts was like, you know, she has a lot of potential, especially the S2, the synergizing this with, like, you know, heroes. And now that I've seen a lot like of potential, I've used it with OpSig, with Rem, Bellion would work here, assuming they get the stun, by the way. Anyone who basically has an AoE strip, or reducing buff duration so you can remove the immunity. Edda would work here, Ran, Piera, you name it. There's a lot of stuff that can work here. But again, to get the combat readiness, you do have to get the stun. So whether that stun is from the Chain of Chiron buff itself, or if you put like an Edda in the back with Abyssal Crown, or a Politis with Abyssal Crown, any stun will trigger this CR boost, but the CR boost can only be activated once every 3 turns. So realistically, that forces Jacko's role, even as a Chain of Chiron buffer, to be a burst hero. In terms of like, your whole comp is going to try to burst down the enemy team. Now, realistically, that is sort of how Smilegate is pushing World Arena at the moment. They just really hated the Golden Boys era, I suppose, and players are just like, even if they weren't cleave players, they still have to have like a C Lilius, a Ran, a Piera, someone speedy in their arsenal in order to have an advantage on their opponent now. That's what I feel to be the case, and an Angel of Light, of course, being one of the ones that can kind of debuff. So it's just like it's good to have her, and I feel that they did design her in the way of responding to how the meta would work. So realistically, again, on paper, Chain of Chiron is, you know, synonymous with like, it can work with a lot of heroes, right? So it's just some of the ones I've listed are like the meta ones. There probably could be like a lot more. And then there's the fact that players nowadays, not everyone runs immunity anymore because of Rimuru, right? So I myself, I'm still going for immunity. If you guys again saw that Guild War fight with C Lilius got a turn, my immunity was clutch on her and Hua Yang, on both. Arguably speaking, it probably wouldn't have mattered for Hua Yang, but there are definitely still use cases for immunity. But the very fact that most of people are going with just, you know, the more gear score with the crit set or the pen set for more damage, they are just like throwing immunity out of the window. So it just opens up Chain of Chiron to be more effective technically in the playing field at the moment. But as you saw in my showcase, especially offensively, don't trust an RNG hero offensively. It usually doesn't end well. In my arena fights, the ones I recorded, almost all of them, I would say, like, I think there was 5 arena fights, 2 of them, or 3 of them rather, I had to fight twice to able to get enough RNG to be able to do what I need to do. Maybe I need to figure out a better team comp, but it is what it is, and it does go in line with what I believed was her weakness, and it was that it just required a stun. 25% chance, so 1% lower than a +30 Abyssal Crown. It did require that, and so the CR boost, honestly, if I +5'd it, it wouldn't have helped the fights, especially the ones I didn't get a stun. The S3 is, you know, on paper pretty good. It is One of my viewers like left a comment saying that it's as strong as Rylet's S3. It isn't as strong as Rylet's S3, but I get what he meant. So if you have debuffed a hero, it is almost a 1.3 mod. Or rather, it is a 1.3 mod, which is Rylet's. But if you don't have a debuff and you do this, it is a 1x mod. It's very, very weak because it's only a 50% defense pen. So compared to Rylet, that is. Now, I'm not doing that based off my Mola investment. As you can see, I'm still missing 20% there. My portrait is to basically replace it. In the future, if I do plan to plus 15 her, I will probably put her on a Draco plate for the survival. And I don't believe that I will need the portrait's damage. So portrait will do more damage since you have 50% defense pen over a 30% increase in Draco plate, the crit damage that is. Now my stats are not that great. I did ended up pulling an S copy of her. It's not that great, but like the damage mods on the S3, let me just read it out. Just make sure that, you know, we got the same. So attack rate is 0.95 with a 30% extra damage if they are debuffed. So that makes it not even, that makes it 1.25. So it is still lower than Rylet, but Rylet has innate survival, whereas she lacks that. Innate survival being that he could potentially dodge. I'm putting that in air quotes, so I'm saying that lightly. But I mean, I've used Rylet enough to know that when I use him, I'm more comfortable or more confident that I will be able to kill my enemy. Jacko, again, I think the Chain of Chiron is really her selling point, and but in those fights you saw that, you know, I used almost every single mechanic that she had. I had the extra turn kill into the S1, which is very nice. 40% stun is very, very good on this S1. Soul burn is absolutely a monster, assuming that they don't resist. 100% effect chance, so 100% to get the stun, and she'll be able to do the extra attack, which is necessary for her damage output. 30% raw damage, as you can see here. So, but the S1, the mod is at 0.75 and the power of 1. So that's very, very low. That's 25% lower than a general person's S1. Milim and Rimuru have a 1.1 S1, I believe, or even 1.2. One of them has a 1.2, I think. So we're talking about like significant damage loss. A lot of the damage will come out of the S1's extra attack, which is at a 1.1, which is okay, kind of cool. So if you add those together, yeah, the S1 does do a lot, but it does again require that they're debuffed. So running Piera, even though if you don't get the Chain of Chiron, or running a Ran or something like that, is pretty good. But like I said, it's like you have to put her as a very controllable fight. So what I realized is that even in a controllable fight like my Arena and Guild War, it wasn't her that won me the fights. Like it was Piera, Ciceria, like Watcher Shuri, or anyone else. Like she obviously added more damage, but anyone I could have run at 250 speed in those cases would have just been as good. Or I could have gone with some bruiser, something like that, in order to mitigate damage and get the second turn kill. Like anything in those lines would have been stronger than Jacko in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I've seen some World Arena players use Jacko, and again, the same thing that I saw is that either she's hard to draft, hard to fit in, or if you win with Jacko, it wasn't because of Jacko. The buff might have helped you win, secure a stun or two, but again, very, very, like, you're 1 out of 4 chance, right? 1 out of 4 chance that in order to stun, you can end up with nothing, and if you relied on that to begin with, you'll just end up losing. Unless your team was just so strong that Jacko didn't matter. So that was my original thoughts, and it ended up being that, yeah, it's pretty much the same as what I originally theory crafted, but nonetheless, she is still very cool. So I don't know if they'll ever buff her. Originally I was saying that yeah, so some of the gear is pretty scuffed, right? So I wanted the speed mainly because I felt that she could do decent damage if I can bring her into the right comps, which I believe I did showcase well. It's just that some of this gear is pretty crappy. So you could arguably say that, well, Dragon, you don't have 300 crit damage. If I have 300 crit damage, I could do da. Or if I'm on pen set, I can do this. I think, yeah, like I would agree, but it's more of like overall, it's just like she's a DPS. She's a DPS with a cool, on paper, passive buff that could potentially make you win. or potentially it would do nothing. So you ideally want to give her enough speed, in my opinion, but also enough damage so that she can generate the kill. Because otherwise, if her passive does not fire off, you need her to do something, right? So really, you probably want to kill. Another thing that I was thinking about in the way I'm using her is that, like, what if she's bulky enough to sustain for a second turn? So back in the day, a lot of people did try the bruiser strays or maybe even lifesteal strays. If you're gonna use her as a Chain of Chiron bot, although it only lasts 2 turns for the entire fight, if you're gonna use it that way and want to sustain, I think potentially you could possibly put her on a Draco Plate lifesteal set, and like she has 109 speed base, so it's not super fast, but you'll probably get like an easy 200, maybe 200, even 220 at the most. Maybe nah, that's too much. Maybe 200 lifesteal set with bulk and damage. Maybe you'll see some use there. So think about it in a way of like Remnant Violet, the Bruiser days. Remnant Violet, she won't have the dodge. That's why the Draco Plate has to come in, I think. And just have her kind of like a bulky, slower nuker, maybe even 180 speed, who knows. But the Chain of Chiron bot. Another artifacts that you could consider is like Emma Kawazu's artifact, or not Emma Kawazu, sorry. I have mine on Emma Kawazu, but Hua Young's artifact. So this one will increase the attack by 10, but then if you have a max limit broken one, you have a 100% chance to generate a burn, so that in case that you don't get the stun on the Jacko, you don't have a soul, potentially you want her to go into the S1, S2, or sorry, S1 into the S1 extra attack, right? Just keep in mind that you do get a stealth if you actually activate the dust attack. So that is one thing that I feel that is pretty important in her kit, is that sometimes you might want to get the stun instead, the stealth instead of go through the S1. So like in a couple fights, I don't think I showcased in my videos, but in a couple fights I had off video recordings, just like experimenting with her. I had areas where I'm just like, okay, I can't one-shot anyone with the S3, especially I'm not max molded, but so like a Ravi or a Bellion or something like that, and I just had Piera go, so like they haven't dented enough, you know, they haven't melted enough. So I was like, okay, so to keep myself from being, you know, dead, let me go into the stealth first. So they're all debuffed from Piera or something, and then I'll go to the S1, go to extra attack, the dust attack, you know, get more damage, and now go into stealth. So I'll protect myself from things like a Ravi or like any other single target damage dealer. So that's like, that is a play. So yeah, if you're not going with Draco, you're not going with Portrait, potentially consider a debuffing artifact. That's one of the theory crafts I have working, and having the Hua-Yang artifact on her wouldn't be too bad. Especially if you build her with higher attack and lower crit damage. So if you do get the burn, you also get a bit of extra damage that ignores defense as well. Those are just like little things. But like I said, if you're using a Portrait, you'll probably end up, like realistically, if they're debuffed, you'll probably end up looking kind of like a Rylet. But it just doesn't really function the same. But anyways, that's my thoughts on Jacko, and really solidified thoughts. None of the fights would have changed in terms of if I got the Mola or the skill enhanced, it wouldn't have changed in my fights. So I think that this showcase really shows like the pros and cons of Jacko, which I'm, you know, hopefully this is like informative, especially for those who are not investing in Jacko right now and are hesitant. I've told you guys the pros and cons, so you can make the decision for yourself. I did predict that she would probably be more like an Elfelt, so in a pocket pick scenario, especially in World Arena, she'll be useful, but she probably won't be useful for too long. Who knows? Maybe she's a defense hero with Rem or something like that, Rem in the backline. Yeah, but that's it. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna end this here. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. If you want to see more content from me, I started a new YouTube channel dedicated to uploading my stream VODs called Casual Face Roll. Currently doing an in-depth playthrough of Elden Ring with over 30 hours of content so far. Oh, what the frick? You piece of stupid ball! Okay, you can't let him have momentum. Oh, shoot. I got killed by a ball? A couple slimes. Although they are protecting treasure. Oh my goodness, there's way too many. Is this what? What? How? Arcade. Was this? It's that ball! The ball is there! He's coming! So if you want to see more, consider subscribing. Thanks.